the goats today. We are training the goats to be milked. The goats do not want us to milk them. So we're using a series of tying their leg back, also just kind of getting them used to the fact that we're messing with their udders without freaking out.
Okay, so let's do it.
Should I get gloves on?
Yeah. It's time to just sit.
This teat is teeny.
Come around this way.
How's that leg being tied? Is it working or is it
I
not?
would rather have it tied behind her, I think.
Okay, so I'm going
So
to
she
get
can't.
the paracord.
That's fine, you pick it fast, that's fine.
Yeah.
Hey! Hey!
Sit.
Because right now this ain't milking territory for you, so I want to show what we're doing to train this goat. Train in quotes. What'd you say?
Work with their leg now, figure out where you're gonna tie it.
I like what you did there with that loop. That's a good idea. Because you need something that'll self-constrict. Under. Okay, so in, and then slips tight on her, and is tight here. How would that be?
Yeah.
Woo!
No.
Wait till you see Gizmo. As usual, you think Lacey's going to be the hard one.
She was pretty hard.
So that's pretty good. That's pretty neat. How neat is that? That's pretty neat.
Let me milk her with this strip hook. You're standing nice. Good girl. This is good. Good girl. Good girl. See?
Oh, it's on Lacey. Okay. Shall I walk her back?
Yeah.
When I walk, if you go like talking to the camera about training goats and how fun it is. Frustrate fun. Let's go get Gizmo. Come on.
Goats are a frustrating animal to milk. I can say, well, they're both first-time fresheners, so they're not used to this at all. They've never had this done. It was bad enough these little kids wanted to nurse off of them. We're just gonna get them in the routine. They'll get used to it. They'll realize no matter how hard they kick or fight, we're going to milk them, and that it's easier for us to milk them if they're being have. I don't think that's an expression. They don't like to have their legs restrained. We don't have to restrain them if they just stand nice on the milking stand, so hopefully they'll realize that. I've got more experience milking cows, so if anybody has goat-specific milking tips, feel free to leave them in the comments below, especially about training goats. What have you done that you've seen has worked for you? Yes, dear.
Come on, honey. Let's go. Up you go. There we go. Gizmo is a bit of a challenge. She is too small for our goat stanchion. So in addition to closing the head gate, we have to use her collar to
Where's
keep
the
her.
bucket?
It fell
in
down.
place.
Just use a little bit of feed for her,
So
so she doesn't knock it down.
this morning in the barn we are fully outfitted with clips and rope and leads, trying to make this a little bit easier so that every day we don't have to tie knots and things, and instead can just clip animals to things and get milking quicker.
And it's hot and we didn't eat enough.
It's hot and we didn't eat enough breakfast. You can see me shaking.
Oh, I'm starving.
Oh man, you too. Yeah, we'll go in. We'll get this
That
over
means
with.
you're
Lead her in, clip her rod.
Leave in a bucket, not the scoop. Leave in a bucket.
There you go, Gizzard. While we are training our goats to be milked, we're also training our herding German Shepherd. He's from a very strong herding line. They are used to herd animals, and we figured, you know what, we have a herd and we have a shepherd who likes to herd things. Let's actually teach him how to do it the right way. So we're trying to just give him some exposure to the animals, a lot more exposure than he's been getting, and starting to train him some commands to help us move the animals, because we have to move them back and forth each day. Be good to use the dog that we have to do it.
And he got Gizmo right out of the pen, so he's probably gonna be pretty good. And he's really calm.
Gizmos. We should color code them. One leg or
So hard to get.
in there?
Yeah.
You need to like get a wider stance. Even tying, just I saw some people just tie them wide. You know, like you could have a little like hook just to give you a little more space to work in there.
Yeah.
Mommy's
Gizmo's
wearing her
small.
nice shoes for the barn.
Ooh, nice one.
Good girl, Giz.
This is actually, it was a gift. My mom and dad were visiting, and my mom brought me these fly traps. I've seen them on social media, on Instagram, and I'll be totally honest, when I saw them I thought they were a gimmick. I was like, nah, you know, the videos show like 1 million flies in here. But my mom got them for me, so I was like, well, I gotta give it a shot. And I gotta say, these things work really good. I've set up 2 already and just tested them out. I didn't want to share them with you unless they really worked. I set them up back by the cows. I put a little cat food in as bait, and oh man, the next day I came out, there was a good amount of flies, and a couple days in, there was just a pile of dead flies. And there's been a noticeable difference in our area around the barn here. This trap works pretty simple. This little interior section is a cone that the flies fly into. There's bait here, so they land on the bait, and then when they go to fly away, they wind up in this interior cone. I don't know if you can see that. And then they wind up inside the inner mesh, and they can't get out, and they just die. And we'll do a whole video on this once I get some good experience. I don't know how to use it right, but man, I'll have a link for these things below. These things are really a good part of our whole, big picture of fly attacking. We put this little bowl in here. Can you hold this, baby? I'm putting my bait. This thing came with some bait. I'm testing the bait it came with. There's the bait. It is very stinky. Whew, so use gloves. You can shut the door, honey.
Let's go see how much we got.
Let's see how much. 1. Oh wait, there's more.
This is more than what me and Daddy got yesterday. We got 1.5 quarts.
Good job, baby.
So we got some milk from yesterday from the girls, and we're using that to make Daddy's coffee now. He said no other milk until Ladybug's giving milk. Daddy.
Yeah, buddy.
Another. Now I just need to wait. You're a silly boy. I don't.
Look at that, yummy.
That's goaty
Spinning
milk. It's goaty milk.
Yeah.
Oh.
Step back.
I want to buy. Is it Mommy? Now it's Daddy's.
Thank you, mister.
Monkey Danta. Daddy got.
How is it?
It's great.
That's with Gizzy too.
That is a great goat
Latte?
latte. This is the 3rd time we've had a goat in milk.
Yes.
The first time we had a goat in milk, we didn't have a stanchion, we didn't have a barn, we didn't have any infrastructure. You just tried to corner her and milk her. And how did that work?
Not great. And I was pregnant.
Yeah, that was not.
As we could say pretty much any part of our life so far.
We gave that one up pretty quickly.
Yes.
Yeah.
She was, I don't think we had even tasted that milk because she was so hard to milk.
And we didn't have the right infrastructure. Goat number 2
Was a little Nigerian dwarf alpine mix.
had the right stand, infrastructure, everything was great, except for she just didn't give a lot of milk.
We also had a Saanen at the same time.
Oh yeah, that
whose
was
milk
bad.
we did not like the taste of at all.
I would say these 2 were the hardest to milk. Well, no, that first one was
The
pretty
first
bad.
one was
Yeah.
the hardest, I think.
Yeah. So these 2 were pretty bad yesterday. They were much better for Kay, and I don't know if that's because of your what everyone always says on the channel. Kay has such a calm energy, and she's so. And I totally agree.
I don't think so. My energy today was hungry and hot. This is the first time I've seen you milk, though, since we did Lacey those couple weeks ago.
Right.
And I'm coming away today with a few thoughts on what we can do tomorrow to make it a little better.
Okay.
I would start off tomorrow with Lacey without tying her and see how she does without being tied. I think sometimes she starts slipping on the stand and that makes her move a little, even more than she would maybe.
Yeah.
The fact that they lift up their legs right away isn't unusual. Like to kick a couple times at first isn't unusual for a goat. Even when their kids come on to them, they'll pick up those feet.
Oh yeah.
So tomorrow we'll try without tying them right away. Make sure we don't let go. So when we grab on it, and this is the same thing with a cow. Once you grab on, even if they're shifty or picking up their feet, make sure you don't let go. Unless it's gonna put you in danger, and of course let go. If not, you grab on and they pick up their feet and you let go right away, it's immediately a signal to them like, oh, this works.
Oh.
So we'll grab on, yeah, and it's hard not to. We're getting into the routine now, which means finding all the milking stuff we had for the cows, kind of getting everything assembled, and figuring out what we can use for the goats that we have for the cows. I would say the milk bucket we have for the cows is a little too tall for using with the goats right now. So what I'm gonna do...
Oh, that's good, yeah, we're gonna change that tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna, instead of using the whole bucket under the goat, I'm gonna get a smaller pot. Something with a handle that we can hold comfortably with one hand, milk with the other hand for now. So we can move the pot out of the way if we need to for when they start getting shifty and kicky. And then we can just dump it all into the big bucket as we go. So even if you get a foot in the pot, you're not losing the entire day's worth of milk.
There's a saying I came up with homesteading, one better. Every time you go and do something, ask yourself, what one thing can I do to make this better tomorrow or the next day? And if you just one better, every day, one better, by the end of the season, your homestead's a lot better than it started. And I think that's how anytime we get back into something new, even something we've already done, every day we ask ourselves, okay, one better. What could we do? What one thing, or today it's like 4 things could we do that are better, that will improve. Today was better than yesterday. Tomorrow will be better than today. And if you're new and you're dealing with a new animal, a new goat, it is very frustrating. I know for me, I'm totally new at milking and goat milking, and it feels very frustrating. So don't feel bad if you feel frustrated.
Right, we come into this as oftentimes homesteaders with these ideals, like this is going to be great. It'll be so relaxing, just sitting there beside your animal with in the early morning hours. It's not like that at first. It wasn't like that at first with Ladybug when I started. It was intimidating and I lost milk. The same thing with the goats right now. This is not fun in the morning.
It's like, all right.
It's so frustrating and you have to like keep yourself calm and patient. And I'll give a sharp yell to them once in a while if they're being really terrible, just to kind of like make them know like, oh, this isn't good. It's frustrating. It's awful. At the end of the milking, it's like, this is not worth it.
Ooh. But
thankfully, the milk tastes good.
The milk is delicious. This goat latte is awesome. I think that could be my daughter's brand, goat latte.
It truly, you cannot tell the difference between this and cow's milk right now.
No,
cow's milk from the store, which is what we've been getting, or a local farm even. We'll get it from the farmer's market, and if we run out, we'll go to the store and get some milk. It's comparable to this. Because the goats is naturally homogenized, so it's giving you that same kind of... it's not the thick Jersey milk.
No, we can tell the difference between Ladybug raw milk and goat raw milk.
But this is comparable to what we're buying at the farmer's market or the store.
And we got more today. Mm-hmm. We got a quart
and a half,
which is a bit over our daily consumption. So we could conceivably actually stop buying milk. Hey, finally, after a year and... lots of money and
earn their keep.
Work, we can actually stop buying milk again. Right until Ladybug comes in. So, here we go.
Those are improvements to make. In conclusion, we said our advice before when buying a cow was don't start with a calf that you're raising and then having to breed and then having to teach to milk. Especially if you are getting into this for the milk. Start off with an animal that maybe it's their second time freshening, their second time they're having a baby, so they've already been milked before, they're used to the experience. It's not bad advice for goats either. If you can, find a goat breeder in your area who's got a clean bill of health, so they've tested everybody for the diseases. Find somebody that has freshened already. That goats reproduce so quickly. Most farms are constantly keeping new doelings and maybe selling ones that aren't fitting into their farm the way they'd like them to.
That's why we purchased Lacey, but she was a first-time freshener.
Right, so look for maybe second-time freshener, third time, who's had the experience. Even then, they'll probably give you some fits to begin with because it will be different. But they'll catch on a little faster than first-time freshener. Yeah, so tomorrow's another day and it'll be better. It's the routine. You get them into the routine, get them used to it. They realize like, oh, you're milking. It relieves that pressure of being full. And then I get to eat, and then I get to go see my babies.
Maybe brush them a little bit,
Yeah.
make it nice time.
It helped when our daughter was at Gizmo's head and just kind of told her she was being good. So have a few hands on deck to help you the first week that you're milking. Some more tips.
If you're thinking about doing goats, we have an awesome Pioneers Only interview with Travis Family Farm. Rachel talked about running a goat business from her family homestead. You can become a pioneer by clicking here and then watch that episode. Learn how to run a goat business. I sure did.